The word, however, doesn't appear once in the US Constitution, but the White House press secretary actually said this about it.
To be clear, he does believe the state should oversee.
The president believes in the United States Constitution. However, he believes there has obviously been a lot of fraud and irregularities that have taken place in American elections.
Did you catch that? Yeah, he respects the Constitution. However, now you don't get to say, yeah, I respect my marriage vows. However, my neighbor's really hot, so that's just not how oaths work, right? Now, this wasn't a slip of the tongue. That word, however, is the signal for a legal doctrine that they've been building since 1980. It's called the unitary executive theory, and it's the argument that the president isn't a public servant, but a CEO that can't be checked by Congress. Now, first, they tried it with Nixon, and then they refined it with Dick Cheney, and now they're perfecting it with Trump. So today I'm going to show you the 50-year roadmap that they use and why that little however means the final phase has begun. To understand 2026, you need to go back to 1974.
I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
So Nixon resigns in disgrace. He got caught using the CIA and FBI to attack his political enemies, and later famously told David Frost this.
Well, when the president does it, that means that it is not illegal.
By definition.
Exactly.
Most Americans thought that Nixon was wrong, and we all kind of thought, good, the system worked. But there were two guys in the White House who watched Nixon fall and learned a different lesson. That would be Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld. And they didn't think that Nixon was wrong to seize power, they just thought that he was bad at it. Most people only know them from the Iraq War, but their story actually starts here, in 1975. Now, they were running the White House right after Nixon fell, and they watched Congress strip the presidency of its power because they didn't want another Watergate. So they actually got together, made a pact, and said, you know what? Let's bring back that absolute power. They knew they couldn't do it alone, so, they had to legalize it. Enter the architect, Bill Barr. Now, in the early 90s under George Bush Sr., Barr here, he wrote the confidential memos that invented the unitary executive. He argued that the president could start wars without Congress, and that you could fire anyone that he wanted. Now, you fast forward 30 years, why did Trump hire him in 2019? Because Barr wrote the playbook. He didn't come back to serve the public, he came back to finish the job he started in 1991. So what does unitary executive mean in practice? It means that Congress cannot tell the president who to fire. It means that the courts cannot see the emails, and it means the DOJ works for him, not the people. It turns our checks and balances into more of a suggestion box. So this brings us back to Karoline Leavitt. And when she says he respects the Constitution, however, he has concerns. She's using the unitary executive logic, and she's saying that the Constitution exists, but the president's authority as chief executive overrides that, and he decides when there's a crisis. Isn't that a neat trick? If you break the law, you go to jail, but if the president breaks the law, well, he's just exercising his unitary authority. It's not a crime, it's just a management style. So why does this matter today? Well, because this headline, Trump says he wants to nationalize the voting in 15 states, and people are confused. They're saying he can't do that and that states run elections. Well, yeah, under normal rules. No, he can't, but under unitary executive, he can absolutely argue that election integrity is a national security issue, and since the president now would have total control over national security, well, he can just step in. You see the trap now? They aren't ignoring the law. They're using a specific 50-year-old legal theory to bypass the law. They're betting that by the time the Supreme Court hears the case, the election will already be over, and Karoline Leavitt didn't misspeak. She's giving away the game plan. That, however, is the bridge. It is the bridge between a republic of laws and a kingdom of one. Now, I like to keep legal receipts because the mainstream news is too busy covering gossip lately. So if you want to know the actual playbook that they're using, hit that subscribe button. I'm Max, and I will see you in the comments.